King Charles III had a remarkable existence, maintaining the regulations and limitations that come with the role of a reigning monarch. Despite the numerous bans he faced, being a ruler granted him extraordinary privileges unmatched, even among royalty. Surely everyone will wonder what those privileges are, right? Now, let's explore 30 things only King Charles III can do that no one else can. 1. Go without a last name. One fascinating aspect of the British monarchy is that they leave the conventional notion of a common surname. The surname Windsor has long been the official royal surname. However, when a king inherits the throne, an extraordinary transformation occurs, in which their surname is abandoned and the regal name becomes their final identity. King Charles III, in assuming the noble role of sovereign, seamlessly adopted this established custom, thereby abandoning the use of the surname Windsor. 2. Carefree driving without a license. One of the unique privileges bestowed on the king was the ability to drive a motor vehicle without a driver's license. Although it was customary for King Charles III to rely on a private chauffeur to travel to his various skirmishes, there were times when he wanted to experience the thrill and independence of driving on his own. This special permission can be traced back to the historical roots of the monarchy. As the embodiment of national sovereignty, the king occupies a distinct place on the legal and administrative frameworks applicable to ordinary citizens. 3. Designate everyone in the royal family to wear what I want. A complex of fashion regulations govern dress choices in the venerable royal family, and the final verdict rests on the wise judgment of the reigning monarch. These guidelines, steeped in tradition, pay homage to the personal preferences of the late Queen Elizabeth II. With Charles taking the throne, however, he finds himself empowered to capture novel fashion statements, such as wearing an Indiana Jones hat, if he so desires. 4. Never get caught. King Charles III resided in a kingdom that had no qualms about his personal freedom. Possessing sovereign immunity granted him an impervious shield against prosecution, making him immune from the law. This unique legal privilege ensured that the king was not arrested or detained for the duration of his reign. 5. An unlimited ticket, access anywhere in the royal family. Although Buckingham Palace is the officially designated residence, the king, and queen consort, also enjoys the freedom to divide their time between the various regal residences. Before Queen Victoria's time, monarchs resided at St. James, which retains its status as a royal residence. 6. Traveling internationally is like going to the market. Traditionally, British passports are issued in the name of the reigning monarch. This practice reflects the authority of the monarchy and signifies that the holder of the passport is a subject of the crown. Therefore, a reigning monarch, such as King Charles III in this case, is not required to have a passport when traveling internationally. As the embodiment of sovereignty, the king's status eliminates the need for a passport. This proves that his travel is no different from meals. 7. Driving without a license plate. In many countries, license plates serve as a means of identification and compliance with the law. However, vehicles associated with the British monarch have demonstrated without explicit registration. You will easily come across a lone car on the road without a license plate. However, it is also common to see police escorts near the king's vehicle during transport. 8. Approval of royal marriage proposals. In the kingdom of the British monarchy, the institution of marriage is of great importance, as it affects not only the personal lives of members of the royal family, but also has implications for the succession to the throne. The Succession to the Crown Act establishes guidelines and regulations regarding royal marriage. A requirement for the first 6 individuals includes in the line of succession to obtain the king's consent before signing the marriage papers. 9. Keep ownership of unclaimed swans in the UK. Since the Middle Ages, swans have carried symbolic and cultural significance in the British Isles. In the 12th century, the monarchy asserted its ownership over the unclaimed swans, giving them legal status as the exclusive property of the crown. This ownership extends specifically to swans found swimming in open and public waters across the UK. 10. Own a Bentley State Limousine. King Charles has the exclusive right to use a private Bentley, known as the Bentley State Limousine, for his transportation needs. These vehicles are known for their British craftsmanship, elegance and heritage, making them the natural choice for the transport needs of kings. It's worth noting that the specific details and features of the Bentley State Limousine are subject to change based on the preferences and specifications of each reigning monarch. 11. Carve your face on the country's currency. Recently, King Charles III was featured on newly issued British coins. The move marks a dramatic shift to the country's currency, as it replaces the long-standing tradition of emblazoned Queen Elizabeth II on banknotes and coins. This practice of featuring the monarch's face on currency dates back centuries and has evolved in tandem with the monarchy's role in society. It showcases the close relationship between the monarchy and the economic and cultural fabric of the nation. By featuring King Charles III on the British currency, the nation acknowledges his position as the head of state and reinforces the continuity of the monarchy's presence throughout history. 12. No need to pay taxes. As ruler, the king is not required to pay taxes. However, he has chosen to follow his mother's example and is willing to pay taxes on his earnings, assets and profits that are not used for official royal affairs. The decision of King Charles III to voluntarily pay taxes is a significant departure from historical norms. Traditionally, the sovereign in the United Kingdom has enjoyed an exemption from taxes. This exemption has been upheld as a way to support the monarchy's independence and financial stability. However, King Charles III's decision aligns with the evolving perception of the monarchy's role and the changing expectations of the public. 13. Initiation of military conflict. Among the special powers bestowed upon King Charles III was the ability to initiate both hostilities and peace. Furthermore, he was capable of dispatching troops to areas embroiled in armed confrontations. According to historical evidence, one of the prerogatives of a reigning monarch is the right to declare war and negotiate peace. Throughout history, kings and queens have used this power to decide the course of conflicts and engage their armies. 14. Evading jury duty. It was customary for the entire royal line to be exempt from jury duty, as their participation was thought to disturb the deceased queen. However, a significant change occurred in 2003 when a legal change was made. This amendment restricted the granting of immunity exclusively to the deceased queen and her governing state. This modification in the law marks a departure from the previous universal immunity enjoyed by the entire royal line, offering a more specific and limited scope of immunity. 15. You can choose any dish you like in the royal party. The king holds exclusive authority over his dining preferences, granting him the freedom to savor a diverse assortment of delectable dishes and beverages. The historical data reveals that the king's culinary wishes were treated with utmost reverence, ensuring that his appetite for nourishment or thirst for drinks were promptly gratified. 16. Have up to 2 birthdays. King Charles III, as the reigning king, was celebrated for the joys of 2 birthdays. His actual date of birth, discreetly observed on the 14th of November, is complemented by an annual royal birthday celebration, following his coronation. 17. Identify Lent treasures. When it comes to major affairs such as state banquets and regal unions, The king has the power to decide which gems and crowns from the late queen's treasury can be borrowed by members of the royal family temporarily. Imagine you are holding in your hand a treasure that everyone covets. Sounds quite interesting, doesn't it? 18. Decide when the meal will end. According to royal rites, after the king finishes the dinner, the formal banquet will come to an end. Therefore, one should try to consume one's meal as quickly as possible when dining at Buckingham Palace. 19. Giving the noble knight title. The king has the right to knighthood of commendable citizens who have demonstrated outstanding achievements or shown considerable dedication to their country. The enthronement ceremony, also known as the appointment ceremony, was held on the grounds of Buckingham Palace. 20. Extended amnesty for criminal offenses. One of the key powers vested in the monarch is the ability to extend amnesty to criminals through the use of royal mercy privileges. This privilege allows the sovereign, in this case King Charles III, to pardon an individual and exempt them from facing any legal consequences for their actions. Notably, in 2020, Queen Elizabeth II exercised this power and issued a special pardon to an individual who bravely saved the lives of British citizens in the horrific terrorist attack that took place in London. Such pardons are important, both in terms of showing the benevolence of the sovereign and as a means of recognizing and rewarding exceptional acts of heroism. 21. Having its own ATM. The king enjoys the privilege of a personal teller machine, without having to adhere to the usual banking hours like ordinary people. This unique facility, located in the basement of Buckingham Palace, is a dedicated ATM service exclusively provided to the royal family, overseen by the venerable British Bank Coots. 22. Drive at high speed as you like without getting caught. The Road Traffic Regulations Act gives emergency service vehicles the power to exceed designated speed limits to complete their critical tasks. Therefore, when the king is accompanied by police officers, this right is also extended, allowing them to move at higher speeds while ensuring safety and security. 23. Secure personal financial privacy. The king and royal family benefit from an exemption under the Freedom of Information Act, which protects the confidentiality of their financial affairs. However, as part of its commitment to transparency, the royal family provides an annual disclosure on the use of their public funds, ensuring accountability and public awareness. 24. No bow required. Bowing plays an important role in royal etiquette. According to etiquette, although the king is not required to bow in return, it is customary for female members of the royal family to bow formally as a sign of respect when greeting the king. On the other hand, male members must show respect by bowing. 25. Presiding over the opening of Parliament. The monarch takes on a role beyond the symbolic representation in government. One of their many responsibilities as heads of state is to oversee the start of each annual session of the National Assembly, known as the opening of Parliament. 26. Take ownership of sea creatures. Derived from an ancient decree dating back to the 14th century, the king took technical ownership of dolphins, whales, sturgeon and dolphins found in the waters around Great Britain. 27. Assume legal guardianship for your grandchildren. During the reign of King George I in the early 18th century, a law was enacted to settle the turbulent relationship between the king and his son, who would ascend the throne as King George II. Thus, King George I assumed legal guardianship over his successor, ensuring permanent guardianship. 28. Revocation of Prime Minister. Although monarchs are restricted from voting or publicly expressing political views, they still have the power to directly remove the Prime Minister. However, such an action would require special circumstances to warrant their intervention. If you come here, you will surely be curious about this most powerful man in England, right? If it were you, would you enjoy these one-of-a-kind perks? Please like, share and subscribe to support us in upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.